Coming to you from the dining room table at East Barbary Lane, welcome to a special edition of Full Circle, the podcast. Today we're visiting with Dan Rothenberg and Eva Steinmetz. They are the co-artistic directors of Pig Iron Theater Company in Philadelphia. Dan is the co-writer and co-director of a new play, Franklin's Key, that will be at Plays and Players June 11th to June 28th. And Eva Steinmetz is also co-director. I'm your host, Martha Madrigal.
And I'm your host, Charles Tyson Jr.
Welcome to the Full Circle table.
Hi, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much for having us.
Absolutely.
It's exciting to get to talk to you. I just said to you both off camera that I've been blissfully aware of Pig Iron forever and your stellar reputation in theater and the Philly art scene in general. But I haven't gotten to see anything live. And I always hear about it after the fact, and everyone's like, oh my God, I've never seen anything like that before in my life. And I'm like, I want to go too.
We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this time we're going.
Yeah, we are.
Yes.
And we love Plays and Players.
So this is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because normally we see a show, and then we talk about the show, because that, this just seems to be how it works out. But we get to talk about the show beforehand. And so this is fun. So you can introduce us to what's going on here. Was Franklin's Key based on another piece, Dan? Did I read that? Was there something smaller, or this is whole cloth?
No, it's been in development for quite a long time. I mean, it's interesting what you said, Charles, about I do feel like, we make usually one new work a year, and we're almost always at the Philadelphia Fringe Festival. So
right.
Your experience is not uncommon. It's like, oh, the Fringe, what happened? We're not like a theater company that's usually doing, well, you can just see us in another 3 months, because we make all original work. And this piece is a little bit of a pivot for us in terms of, being associated with the Fringe, being associated with experimental work. Franklin's Key is not based on any existing storyline or anything, but it is inspired by so many movies of the 1980s. In a way, it's reminiscent of Stranger Things, but translated for the stage. And
interesting.
The way that Stranger Things is so pulling on those Spielberg strings from the 80s. We're definitely inspired by The Goonies, by Back to the Future.
Okay.
And then also inspired by certain kinds of sci-fi fantasy, like The Golden Compass, where you have a city that's real, like Harry Potter's London or in Golden Compass, Oxford.
Right.
But there's a sort of fantasy city that's an alternate reality that's projected on top of the real city. And we wanted to do that with our hometown, Philly.
Interesting.
Philly is often an alternate reality, though.
I mean...
You don't always have to reach far.
That's you. When you said it clicked. Yeah, you guys do typically just debut for the Fringe, which makes sense considering the type of things that you do.
That's what I think I was. Was there something in this to the Fringe, or did I just make that up?
So as we were working on this piece about Ben Franklin, I call it like the family-friendly sci-fi Ben Franklin show.
Okay.
And I can tell you the basic log line in a second, but we realized the semi-quincentennial was coming up. Mm-hmm. And we said, oh, well, maybe this can be kind of our entry into the city's festivities for the semi-quincentennial. But the show we're imagining is so big and has special effects that we've never done before. We should premiere it in the summer before. and see what we can do and how we can work out the kinks and figure out the video design and the magic design. And so Eve and I are excited going into this that we have so much groundwork laid. We still think of it as a new play, but there's just a lot of technical elements that we really needed to take time to figure out. Quickly, the story of the play. It starts with this little anecdote about Ben Franklin, which is that from the biography, a little true detail that in the War of Independence, the British were afraid that Ben Franklin could control the weather and that he would use this kind of quasi-magical power against them. That was like a rumor that was filtering around. And this is a show that imagines, what if that were true? What if Ben Franklin really did have secret technologies that were centuries ahead of their time, and they're actually being maintained in a kind of clockwork underneath the landmarks of Philadelphia that we know so well? So City Hall, the Wanamaker organ, the PMA, the Liberty Bell. What if these are all, if you go into the tunnels into this hidden Philadelphia, there's a secret society trying to maintain this secret technology. And then these two teenage prodigies sort of stumble. That's how it's sort of like Goonies. They stumble into the mystery. You know, they stumble into the mystery of the new Promethean society, this struggle for power, and will the technology be used for good or for evil, as they wind their way through the mystery of the show.
And you can fit that in Plays and Players.
We use every square inch of Plays and Players. It is amazing. like backstage, there's no room. We have used really every square inch, every pipe, every dressing room. There is no unused space in the theater.
I love that. That literally immersive.
So, Evie, clearly you had to co-sign here. Talk to us about it.
Had to co-sign on
The premise. This is it's wild. I'm excited, more excited now. I had no idea.
Yeah, I think it's so fun. And I joined the Pig Iron Theater Company in 2023 as an artistic producer, and just this year became co-artistic director. So my role on the project last year, when it first went up, was really as a producer, as a helper, facilitator, keeping the train on the tracks. And one of the lessons that we learned last year was that it being so big and there being so many technical components, that actually Dan and I sharing some of the directing would probably set all of us up for more success, because there's just so much to keep track of. So I'm coming into this not as somebody who's been shepherding it for many, many years like Dan has, as both a writer and a director, but I'm coming in as somebody who got to watch audiences fall in love with it last year, and now I get to have fun with everyone. I get to be in the rehearsal and play with these characters that I really fell in love with. And I think, the ensemble, there's 10 actors, and it really shows off a lot of the Philly performing scene. There's a lot of different theater companies and different performers who are represented on the stage. And I have so much affection for all of them, and I have so much affection for this community. And I think the show does a really good job of kind of showcasing their skills.
Oh, I love that.
That's amazing. And hearing the synopsis, it also sounds like a movie I haven't seen, but National Treasure.
Right. I meant to say National Treasure. We're like, what do we say? Like the Goonies?
Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which is not a movie, it's the Broadway show,
Right.
and National Treasure.
Yeah,
Our
exactly.
kind of reference points for this show.
That's crazy.
But better. I'm just going to go but better.
But better. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely scrappier.
You can't really mention Harry Potter to a trans person these days without
I know.
the hair on the back of my neck going up. So I'm just, but
Yeah.
better.
But better.
Better,
By virtue
better,
of not
queerer,
being right.
more fun.
Queer, more fun. Right, exactly.
I want
you. I'm
that
sorry,
on
I
a shirt.
I just had to do that. Better, queerer, and more fun.
Better, queer, more fun.
I'm surprised you don't have that on it.
I know.
Not yet.
So based on everything that I know of Pig Iron and the synopsis of this show included, when we sit down to discuss the new project, do we just take 7 hits of acid and then talk? Like, I don't... because Pig Iron is crazy in the best possible way. And because, like I said, everything that I've ever heard is prefaced by, I've never seen anything like it before. Like,
That's really amazing. That's great. I mean, I do think that our mantra, we've had a few different ones, but we say there really is no house style, and we want to reinvent ourselves with each production. And we work really closely with ensembles of actors, kind of creating a style that is unique to each production. And so we kind of start each process saying, well, is this a downbeat mumble style, or is this a very articulated physical and visual style? Is this a body burlesque style? And trying to move everybody, I think a criticism we apply to ourselves is like, are they in the same play? Often I go to a play and I'm like, well, I really like this person, but I'm not sure they're in the same play as everybody else.
Right.
And so that's something that we really care about, is making a complete world and reinventing what's possible. In a way, sometimes the work we do is surprising because it's like a risk for us to do something a little more mainstream. So doing something family friendly felt like a risk for us, and that some of our audience would be like, well, wait, what's going on? And once upon a time, we had a really good time when Eva and I first worked together on this Shakespeare play, Twelfth Night, where we said, can we treat it like an ensemble devised piece, but actually still play it straight like Shakespeare, so that we can talk to different people. I think part of the goal for us, having been part of the Fringe for almost 20, we've been in more than 20 Fringe festivals, was like, well, it's just time to talk to other people too. So yeah.
Was 12th Night the one that took place in the morgue?
No, wow, you remember way back.
I do.
That was when I really had a chip on my shoulder about Shakespeare. That's 2007. And that one is, yes, Shakespeare performed in a morgue by naked dead bodies, stumbling around and mumbling.
Yeah.
Which was, do we curse on this podcast?
All the time.
Fuck yes.
Fuck yes.
So that was more of the fuck you Shakespeare project of a younger Pig Iron. And then a few years later, we were like, well, maybe actually it's a risk to not say fuck you and mess around, and see if we can really be irreverent with it, but not specifically put it in people's faces. Like, what am I seeing here? What am I seeing? And that show had this live Balkan jazz band on stage that felt really different from other Shakespeare's. That kind of was how we stand on that one.
Yeah, that was one of the ones that I definitely remember hearing about and being, that's up my alley.
Right. Okay.
That's crazy. And yeah, sometimes it is a risk to go against your own grain and not say fuck you, even if you're just saying, sit on it, bucko. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just approach it from the left a little bit, as opposed to quite so on the nose.
Dan, have you always been a part of Pig Iron? Is that...
Yes, I am in the weird position of having been with a group of 22-year-olds, 21-year-olds, and saying, let's make a play and take it to the Edinburgh Fringe. And then, oh, look, Philly's starting a Fringe. Maybe we should do something there 2 years later. And now it's 30 years later, and there's really been a few different generations of Pig Iron creators. Loving that Eva is here. You can probably tell that Eva is younger than I am, and bringing a new vision, a new life to the company. And for 15 years, we've run this graduate program in devised theater creation, physical theater. which has really sort of shifted our community. When we were younger, we were kind of we were touring a lot overseas and bringing back artists from Japan and Sweden to make plays with us and showcase them in the Fringe. And now that we've set up this school, people are coming from all over the country and somewhat from all over the world. And some are staying in Philadelphia and starting their own companies that are way riskier and more experimental than some of what I do. Some that are, that like are in art galleries, rock bands, a bunch of different forms have sort of come out of the folks who come and train with us and stick around.
I love that.
I love it too. And it's such a sign of maturity. It's like, how do I get them to come to me? And you figured that out brilliantly. So that's just maturity.
Yeah.
Because you keep talking about the 80s and I'm like, all right, I know exactly we are the demographic. But yeah, and how do you think, I'm trying to phrase the question that's in my head because I think it's, talk amongst yourselves.
Come back to me.
Well, I'm going toward, like always having a multi-generational approach to theater, always having young people and new ideas and new perspectives and including those rather than saying we have figured it out.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to talk about that a little, Eva, or do you want to hear my take?
Well, I would love to hear your take, but I think one of the things that feels so specific to the pig iron devising and co-creating process is that it really is made by the people in the room. Mm-hmm. And in the same way that Dan was talking about wanting to create these visual and emotional and rhythmic worlds that feel cohesive, there also is a desire to really look at who's here and what are their skills and how can we make a show that forms itself around that instead of getting a script and being like, oh, there's a character in the script that has to be a certain way and our actor is not exactly that way and we're just going to try to bend over backwards to turn this person into someone that they're not. And I think when you gather groups of people together and when those groups of people represent different identities and different generations, then there is a kind of constant discovery and curiosity. So I think some of it is seeking out the audiences who are young and who are interested in pig iron, and some of it is also just looking around and seeing who's in the room of the makers.
I love that though, because so often, and you just gave it words, just trying to kind of beat the actor into the role rather than. And I've seen that, and I think that's, Dan, what you mentioned about, like, are they in the same play? Because it can be like what just happened there. We saw that not that long ago with one particular character in an ensemble and going,
Right.
And I think that was why. I don't think that this was their strength. So I love that idea of saying,
which isn't to mean that there can't be rigor and stretching past one's own abilities, but yeah, I think what you're describing is exactly the thing that Dan and I both have a little bit of an allergy to.
Yeah. And Dan, your take?
Oh, I was just thinking about the word generations. I don't even know if I finished this. Like, what I was thinking before was like, I'm in the weird position of starting a theater company with a group of college friends and blinking my eyes and it's 30 years later. So it's a little bit of, we really, we wanted to be upstarts, gadflies, people who would like poke their finger in your eye.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a little unseemly in your 50s in some way.
No, it's not. So not at all. I think that's when it starts at its best.
Right.
Okay,
honestly.
good.
Yeah. Truly, that's just my, I recently sat on a panel that was an intergenerational queer panel, and we ranged from, I want to say 17 or 18, maybe they were both 18, but we had high school aged kids, and we sat in age order, goddamn them, up until our oldest person there was 72. And there were themes of reconciliation and what does it look like and how do we... And what we kind of came to very organically was we, looking up and down this row, are this generation. We are each iterations of the generation. And the more we respect one another and our perspectives, which I think in queer worlds and in artistic worlds, we tend to be better at that than maybe out there.
Yeah, I mean, that is very moving and makes me think about chosen family as something that people in the theater world and people in the queer community in their own ways understand.
Oh yeah.
And so, I think that Big Iron attracts a lot of weirdos.
Good. And I love you for
great.
that.
And I really, I think sometimes, sometimes we're trying to have plays where it's like, yeah, this person's so great. This is what they're meant to do. This is the thing that this is where they can express something that they normally don't get to.
I love it. So, would you say that Franklin's Key is the most normal production that you guys have done so far? I put normal in air quotes.
I think that Shakespeare one is actually more normal than this one. Although, I don't know. I mean, I also feel like we've done some shows that I call hoaxes, and I definitely like to do a bait and switch. And I also like the sort of more elegant word is to be disarming. That a bunch of our shows are like, oh, you know exactly what this is. You can be comfortable. So I think you can come into this show and go, oh, this is a spectacle, and it's a spectacle, and it's a linear story, and it's like a Marvel movie theatricalized and made onto the stage, and that's so fun. But I think that's the hook. But there are still some deep ideas. There are still some things that are unexpected that happen in the show. I mean, on the one hand, it's like National Treasure, or if you ever saw that show Alias, there was all this like ancient technology that they were all fighting over in their secret CIA things.
I missed that show.
In some ways, it's just it's a goof on that. But actually, this question about technology being hoarded by some people and some people wanting to dominate society, or should we allow everyone to use it, and is it too dangerous? I mean, all of that stuff is really a reflection of everything that's going on with AI and the internet and the way social media is being fine-tuned to grab our attention. So I think those things are in there. I mean, I think for the people on this podcast, there's a secret anti-Elon Musk message at the heart of the play.
I like that.
In terms of, although, on the one hand, it's like a classic Captain America villain, but on the other hand, it's like a technologist who's like, I want to keep it all for myself, and I don't like the stupid people, and I'm going to dominate them. And it's sort of a takedown of that person.
Okay, I was going to go there because, how do we talk about technology and conspiracy and without the overlay of current events? Because
yeah, absolutely,
right. And I would just think like technology is only as dangerous as the hands that are wielding it. But as we know,
anything that hates Elon Musk, I'm down with. Now I want to see it more.
Right.
I like being able to be entertained and at the same time think.
Yes.
Which, hey, I think theater at its best always does, right? We think about something.
Right.
But especially now, because there is so much, we're looking out on the landscape saying, can they do that? Can they really do that? And then something more ridiculous happens. So by the time this opens, it may not even feel like sci-fi.
Right.
Things are changing by the day.
Right. And I imagine that these days, in order to make work that feels fantastical while being topical, you have to get more and more crazy to top the thing you're poking at. Because it's like the news is written by like Mad Libs and shit. I don't.
Right. Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, how do you keep that on the outside while you're trying to run rehearsals and working on a
Right.
play, and or you can't? I mean,
And should you?
I mean, I think fundamentally, I don't think in our room we make an effort to keep it out
okay.
of rehearsal. I think we have the best theater, the best art is going to come from the personal connection to the material, and that personal connection has to do with like the onslaught of the world, those battles, some that are personal, some that are communal and political. So yeah, I mean, I guess I go back again to that. I do think there is this aspect of chosen family that we rely on each other in this. You know, I mean, one of the things it's interesting. You know, like Pig Iron does a lot of different kinds of things. We've done shows like that are actually immersive. We've done shows with choirs and even one with a robotics lab, and so like a lot of unusual stuff.
Yeah.
But one thing that we've always done is we always have a warm up for every rehearsal, and so this is sort of like something the audience doesn't need to know. But we have a warm up for every rehearsal, for every performance we've done in these 30 years. I mean, maybe we missed a couple, but that's our way of sort of putting our money where our mouth is. That like this is about the people who are working together. We're going to take some time every day and just breathe together and be together. And I think that just creates, without getting to the unhealthy place of mixing the professional and the personal, I think that does create a kind of resilience that hopefully seeps into like how you keep going in the world we're in right now, for sure.
And I think it also helps to develop some of those things that make audiences say, I've never seen anything like that. That when we're breathing together and moving together, those are the moments when unusual or abstract images come out of our shared joy, shared grief, shared confusion. And so there can be physical gestures or images that we can develop as an ensemble, as a group of people who are moving together and making things together, that really do emerge from the feelings and aren't kind of put on top by thoughts and ideas and prescriptive notions of how something should be interpreted. And I think that is one of the secret ingredients for Pig Iron making stuff.
I love that.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. And there's nothing wrong with a good distraction. I mean, there's, intentionally finding joy in this world, like that's resistance unto itself.
I was going to say,
insisting, we're going to take this time and we are going to laugh and we are going to smile and we are going to see one another, because that right there is resistance, and it pisses them off even more.
Right.
So, hey.
Exactly. Laugh in the face.
But that I love that visual and that idea of coming from versus being put on top of.
Right.
Okay.
I was thinking about the fact that Pig Iron has a school because Martha and I owned a bar together in Northeast Philly in Tacony for 5 years. And because we're us, we leaned heavily into the arts community of Philly. We hosted a First Friday, we called it the First Friday Arts Takeover. And we've had several Pig Iron students and or graduates take part. We had one group, they did like a mask work piece. Wow. And it was one of those things like a lot of people in the room had no idea what was going on, but I'm sitting here going, this is happening in our space, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So I am very grateful for the existence of the Pig Iron School.
Yeah.
Like what?
So good to hear.
Yeah. Like what are the
You never know what your reach, like how far it goes.
Like what are the core values of the school that you would say?
I mean, I think number one is this spirit of play.
Mm-hmm.
That the school's like methodology is inspired by this French guy, Jacques Lecoq, who used to talk about le jeu, the playfulness. And if it isn't there, you don't have theater. And it's wild to sort of when that can get sucked out of the project that you're working on, or that even started from a very joyful or innocent impulse. So it's a kind of muscle that you have to keep working to keep finding that.
Well, and you've got Dito right in the mix. So
yeah,
le jeu,
exactly.
I'm just going, and Martha Graham character is
le jeu.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And what else do you think, Eva, in terms of like the school's fundamental?
Yeah, it's in a lot of ways it's modeled after Jacques Lecoq's school in Paris.
Love the name.
I know, right? I wasn't going to say it, but
Plus some other practices and pedagogies that Pig Iron picked up around the world with the various collaborators and theater companies and schools that it encountered along the way. So I think, this spirit of play is really at the heart of it, and it being a place where you make ensemble work is also a huge part of it. That the classes, you divide into groups, and every week a group gets given an assignment. You make a thing, you show it to your professors. The next week you get given an assignment, you make a thing, you show it to your professors. So there's just a constant collaborative making that's happening. And there's really a focus on groups.
I love that. Yeah, I went through the same thing with dance in college. Yeah, I love that.
I was thinking about two things. Like, just another way of saying that, Eva, for me, is like an ethos is you can do it yourself. You can make it up. That there's so many things in our lives and in our art making that like there's always the danger of falling into, well, I'm doing it because this is how it's always been done. And I'm doing it because everyone says this is the right way to do it. And if I do this, then I'll get that. And especially in our world now, there's no truth in that anymore. There's no, like, if I do this, I'll get that you can count on. And that's like that's its own kind of muscle. And it also just makes me think about always trying to mess with piety. Like, that's a kind of piety in a way, to be like, well, good theater is done with articulation. I mean, I think that was that Shakespeare play you remember from almost 20 years ago now, what's kind of that, fuck you, about like maybe Shakespeare's good with good articulation, but maybe it's like you can hear something else with it weirdly mumbled by semi-zombies.
Right.
And you'll hear something new. And so, and I actually studied with that guy back in the 90s, Jacques Lecoq, and he would say the best student is the one who betrays the master. And I really think that. And I feel like I'm just always blown away by the things the graduates do. Some graduates started this festival Cannonball, which is also part of the Fringe, but also now has other iterations throughout the year. It's amazing.
Cannonball came out of Pig Iron?
Well, several of the founders met as students at Pig Iron.
I love that.
So yeah.
That's
but we can't take credit
cool.
for it. We just admire it.
Still.
And
I love that.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. Because Cannonball does wackadoo shit. And where do you learn to be your most wackadooiest? I get it.
Hopefully with us.
I get it.
Hopefully with us.
Piety. I love the idea of challenging. Piety.
I would say another thing that comes out of the school is in the spirit of play and experimentation is just a real deep familiarity with failure. That you try things and it doesn't work. And often the the information about the failure is coming from the audience, that you want to do something that's funny or you want to do something that's moving and it doesn't land.
Right.
Sure.
And I have so many experiences being in collaborations with people for whom those moments of failure are profoundly painful. And failure is always painful to some degree, but there is something about building a muscle of experimentation and trying things and then saying, oh, I think that didn't work. What should we do differently? Let's switch this. And not sitting in the pain of, I tried a thing and it failed. But actually, that's like part of the momentum of creation.
I'm enjoying, and I'm going to take this away from today's conversation, that concept of going back to like the spirit of play being a muscle, experimentation being a muscle. I love that because it's true. You gotta exercise it.
Well, there are certain things you have to do.
Right.
You can't talk. I can tell you about something, but I believe I'm right in the right vein. Like, I can tell you about timing and how it, but until you have that immediate feedback from an audience,
Right.
Yeah.
that's different. That's a different lesson. You know, I can talk all day, but until you're up there and you're feeling it and you're realizing, oh wait, this has to be bigger, or this needs to be smaller, or
Right.
whatever it is you are learning as you're doing, and
Right.
that has application throughout life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know a comedian who doesn't get in front of an audience to work out their material, because what other way is there?
Right.
Yeah.
Truly. And
Because you can think you're funny all day, but
well, it's right. Yeah.
but
There's so many other applications. I mean, you know, I work with a whole lot of trans people, and it's the same thing. It's like, honey, I can tell you're going to be okay, but you've got to get out there and do that. You know, I can say it's your first walk through Target is going to be okay, but it's not going to be okay until you do it.
right.
It's not going to be okay until you have gotten to the other side of that experience. And so, you know, I have always thought there are like big life lessons in theater and performing and art. And
I had a professor at Temple Dance, Eva Golson, and she always used to say, and I always take it with me, and I change the subject of the sentence, but it still always works. There's no such thing as a dancer in theory. You know, you are doing or you are not. And yeah.
doing or not doing.
Yeah.
There is no try.
Right. And that's
80s,
very true.
70s movie in that case.
Well,
I think that's an 80s movie.
I'm a little older than all of you, all right?
Oh, I'm pretty familiar with that one.
well, I'm a nerd, so also.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that. I love that spirit of playfulness and experimentation, and definitely you got to get over the fear of failure. And you know, because failure also has that flip side of the happy accident. You know, it's like, okay, that's not what I meant to do, but that worked. Because sometimes you have the thing like, well, I'm never doing that again. Or maybe if I add a little twist to that could work. Yeah.
How much of, or how important is improv in terms of the work?
This is an unusual show because it actually is one of the only ones. It's one of maybe 3 of our 30 years that have started with a script.
Okay.
Although there's been plenty of improvisation around the script and certainly around the style. And there's a movement ensemble, which is only indicated in the script. And lots of things came out of that improvisation as well. But I guess it's in a way it's hilarious that we didn't get to that. That's actually the main thing that we do at the school. And the main thing that we do when we're making and writing is improvise. And I guess one of the things that I've always said as kind of a theater lover who's not so psyched about playwriting sometimes is that, well, if you haven't done a lot of improvising, how do you know why someone would want to speak? Otherwise, you know, it can just there's so much that's overwritten in the theater where it's like, well, I'm putting this line here and I'm putting this line here.
Right.
But when you're improvising continually, you're also working that muscle of where does the impulse to speak come from.
Right. And I'm sure, like, you know, as a director, there's got to be a spirit of improvisation because, you know, you see something and then you go, well, what if we did it this way? Or what if we never do it that way ever again? Yeah, I love that. I love that.
I'm sitting here just thinking about cooking. Like when when one first learns, you know, how to cook, it's the recipe. And I have a dear one who lives in New York City, and she's a fabulous cook. But I learned in cooking with her, she's very much to the recipe. And I said, I want to make that shrimp dish that you make. And she said, well, we can't. And I said, why? And she said, I don't have tarragon oil. I said, hold on. Is that not a jar of tarragon up there? And she said, it is. And I said, is that not oil? And she said, yeah. And I said, we're good. And it blew her mind. Like,
You can do
wait
that?
a minute. Right, wait a minute. Because she had always cooked a recipe.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
And I think so many of us, in the beginning, especially like theater students, learn a certain way, right?
Yeah.
And we learn a certain way to approach a script and a certain way to, and you're saying, maybe,
Right.
maybe.
I mean,
Well, what about this?
that was always my way as an artist, frequently to my detriment. But like, I like to just try different things. And a lot of times the thing that I'm trying is not something that I studied. You know, I didn't study theater, but it's like, I want to write a play and I want to produce it and I want to put it up. And it's like, so I don't know rules. And, you know, I'm just breaking rules left, right, and sideways, but how the fuck would I know? And part of me is like, you know, you got to know the rules to break the rules. And then part of me is like, why are there rules? And there is that double-edged sword because it's like, again, there's no such thing as an artist in theory, but I don't know, like how do we feel about that convention of like, you know, taking the tradition and the rules of tradition and turning it on its ear, thumbing your nose at it, but still being steeped in it. You know what I mean? Like, how do you walk that line?
Yeah. Where do you come at that idea? You have to know the rules to break the rules. I think that's an easier way to ask the question.
Thank you. Stream of consciousness.
Well, I guess I think building off what Eva said about failure and what you said, Martha, about things that must be done. Like when you perform, you learn rules.
Sure.
You and there's no and a lot of people are told those rules before they've actually done the performing and discovered them for themselves. And by rules, I mean you learn the limits of what you can, how much you can hold people's attention and with what. And so I guess I don't feel, you know, this is a little bit my mantra, but similar to your tarragon oil, which I feel like I could really use in some of the classes here at Pig Iron, is that all training is made up. And that it's so easy to be like, oh, this training, what's important is that I do it the way that it was done by the founders. And it's like, no, well, they just got together in a room and they were like, you know what would be great in dance would be if we did this, if we made volumes in space with our arms. And that was the fundamental, and just a new idea that they made up. And then it was popular. And then it's like, well, other people want to learn how to do it. And then it becomes ossified.
Right.
So I guess I think if you show up in any, if you show up and you're like, there are no rules, usually that's kind of self-indulgent in a way.
Sure.
But you're trying to find that special place of, there's rules for me to learn. There's not rules I have to follow because other people told me that I had to follow them.
Right.
It's sort of where I land on that.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I would add to that, yeah, I kind of don't care. I'm like, Do you want to follow the rules? Do you not want to follow the rules? Are you feeling angsty about it? I don't care. Do your thing. If you have a thing that you are feeling compelled to do that thing. But you should know that we live in a world and in a cultural landscape where people are going to come in with a certain set of assumptions and expectations. And you are going to be making work in conversation with those assumptions and expectations. So if you're angry that they didn't see what you wanted them to see, that might be on you to shift things to make it more legible, if that's what you want to do. So there's
I've been guilty of that.
We all have, I think. I've had moments where I'm like, why am I following these rules? I don't need them. I'm doing them because somebody told me to, and I gotta let go of that and do my own thing. And then I've also had moments where I have thought, oh, that's why we have that rule. I thought I didn't need it, and now actually it's very useful.
Right.
And I'm just going to hold on to it and follow that rule because it's helping to elevate the thing that I'm trying to do.
Right.
Legibility is just the concept of it, because, how to say, I have worked with the actors for whom the stage is therapy.
Oh my God.
Which I would prefer it not be. I'd like you to also have a therapist. Just because. And so I've seen both sides of that, where it's, and it does come back to the legibility of it. Like, and being able to say, well, if you didn't get what you were looking for in that, you're the one who needs to consider your approach. Not them, you. Not always easy to teach, but.
Yeah. And I've I've approached that scenario a couple of times where, like, I love experimental work. I have been captivated by things that would have other people rocking back and forth and checking their watch. And then I've also said, if I'm going to watch someone masturbate on stage, I'm not going to do it here. You know what I mean? Sure. There are places for that.
Right.
What are the cultural expectations of this space?
Right.
You know? Sometimes we're all showing up to watch somebody masturbate on stage, and that's cool.
Right. I've been to that show too, and that's okay.
Yeah. And sometimes we're not.
Right.
And we don't want to see it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I just came here to grocery shop.
Ma'am, this is a Wendy's.
Man.
That's funny.
Well, you know, I love that there are more and more affirming churches in the world. You know, we've got several around here, and regardless of what my own views are, somebody asked me to go talk in a church that I know is really trying to reimagine. I'll go. And, you know, the last time I did, I walked in and I said, all religion is made up. But the good thing about that is we can reimagine it.
Right.
Just, you know, because it is, you know, and then, like, if we can't get to that fundamental part of the idea, I'm not the one you want talking to you.
I think I actually heard some hairs on backs of necks stand up when you said that.
Did you? Probably. But I think we need to say it.
Yeah. It's all made. Well, yeah, like when people say, you know, oh God, you're just making up words now.
Yeah, they're all made
up.
Yeah, that's how
They're
they all got
all
here.
made up.
All the words, all of them, every
including
single one.
these right now that I'm saying.
Somebody made it up,
right? But we just have these communally agreed upon, like, ideas that this is this, that is that.
Yeah. I think that's, you know, some of the, I'm going to get off this tangent in 1 second. Some of the conflict that we see, especially with queer and trans people at the moment, you know, in our broader culture, is you're not following the rules I am,
right.
I am chained with, and I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And art is one of the ways we challenge that. And say, but you too could break through.
Right.
You too, you've got the key to your own cage as well. Yeah, it's scary.
It's like there's
Can
actually
be.
nothing stopping you from doing it too, friend.
Right. Right.
And also, if you don't want to, you don't have to. Like,
Also that.
me diverging from the path shouldn't be a threat to you walking the
Thank
path.
you.
That
Yes,
part.
You can put a doily on the elephant in your room.
Right.
And I'm good with that. But, don't fuck with mine. That's
Right.
all.
Yeah, you can call it an end table if you like. But
Yeah, that's fine. We're allowed. We're allowed.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's all minus oppression and causing harm. It's all okay.
So here's what I have always wondered, Dan. Where did the name pig iron? Why pig iron? I think
you
I
for that.
know, but I want you to tell me. The name, obviously.
Yeah.
Not why does
It's in the program, so now you have to come see the show and read the name in the program.
Okay.
Read the book.
But Dan can also tell you that.
Just between us. Yeah.
Between us.
Yeah.
Again, remember, this is a company dreamed up by 21 and 22-year-olds, not knowing that they would be explaining pig iron in the year 2026.
I'm sure.
And I love that for y'all so
But
much.
so you have to put yourself in this mindset. It began as a little inside joke. Like, wouldn't it be funny if we called the theater company that? And then someone, maybe me, was like, wow, when we it was in some other play. And we were like, oh, pig iron is the raw, crude iron.
Right.
That's the first step of getting iron out of ore, of smelting. And it is useless and crude, and you use it for weight. You use it for ballast. So when you're in a theater and you see a fly system, often there are stacks of these metal plates, and those metal plates are pieces of pig iron. And we were like, well, in a way, pig iron is something crude and functional that creates a transformation or that creates an image of flight. And I think that still connects to our work, where sometimes we want you to see how it's made. I think for a lot of our plays stylistically, we would like build a thing and then turn around the set or turn around the style so you could see how the puppets were happening.
Ooh.
This play doesn't do that, but that's the story that's buried in this play, is the story about a secret world that lives underneath, and that the right weirdo can find out, and the right weirdo can see what are the secret strands of the matrix that make meaning and make the city work together and make inspiration happen.
I love how you keep adding references the more we talk about it.
I adore that.
Too many, right?
No. That's where I thought we were going. I wanted to hear it from your lips, and thank you for that. We've been talking about Franklin's Key,
Yes.
which opens at Plays and Players June 11th and runs until the 28th. So it's covering Pride Month. Tell me what days of the week.
It's mostly Tuesday through Sunday, but the schedule's a little wonky because of the FIFA schedule. We have some off days
right.
for FIFA games.
We decided let's not compete with this FIFA game, or let's move it earlier in the day. And because it's a play that you can bring people as young as 8 to, we were like, hey, audiences don't even like to go at 8 anymore. Let's do one at 6 on a Friday and see if people want to come at 6 and have dinner afterwards, or they can take their kids and then put them to bed.
It's so weird to me, the way we kind of shifted time.
Yeah, the famous line from Angels in America, the theater's always at 8.
Right.
And it is not true.
Not anymore.
Broadway is not at 8 anymore.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
And I've been enjoying that, actually, because it's like you still
You're
have a little
sounding
bit
your
of
age.
and I'm okay with that. Well, no, just because your approach to being in the theater can be affected by being there a little earlier. And you have a little more of your night left over afterward.
I guess. But for a time, and it's getting better, but for a time, your night, you couldn't go anywhere afterwards because they were all closed by then. You might
also
find a
that.
bar,
Right.
but the kitchen closed.
That's kind of where I was going, actually.
We're slowly reopening. Veselka is 24 hours on the weekends now, so there is a God somewhere.
That's great.
Yeah, cool. I know, right? And so how would we find the schedule?
franklinskey.com.
Love that.
That's the way to do it. We have a website where people can go check it out and find out everything about getting tickets and times. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. And if we wanted to learn more about Pig Iron itself and what you guys do, where would we go?
pigiron.org.
Pigiron.org.
I love it.
Dan and Eva, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too. This is
It's been
wonderful.
so nice to talk to you.
I have really enjoyed this conversation. You've been listening to Full Circle,
The podcast.
I'm Martha Madrigal.
And I am Charles Tyson Jr.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Full Circle is a Never Scared Productions podcast, hosted by Charles Tyson Jr. and Martha Madrigal, produced and edited by Never Scared, executive produced by Charles Tyson Jr. and Martha Madrigal. Our theme and music is by the Jingleberries. All names, pictures, music, audio, and video clips are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective copyright holders.